Okay, what's up, guys? Coach Smith, Coach Smith here. Yep, we are ready to go live. We're gonna do it and do it until we're satisfied. We love the game 24/7. Yeah, yep. It's time to go live Sunday with Coach Smith. We are live. I'm excited to get back on this thing, doing it until I'm satisfied. Yep. Coach Smith. And love the game 24/7, man. We coming at you real time, real talk for you parents and young athletes out there. We got to do it. Yeah, yep. All right. All right. I appreciate you guys joining me live on my YouTube channel, Facebook, and IG. And this is Coach Smith coming at you. And I'm excited. Please be sure that you hit that subscribe button on my YouTube. Be sure you view all the great videos, um, discussions on recruiting, all kinds of topics to help the young athlete and parent understand or get a better idea of what it takes to navigate through this recruiting process for your young athlete, male or female, no matter what sport. You always hear me say recruiting is recruiting. It's the same. We just have some better tools. Appreciate you joining me, my brother, on my IG. Yep. That's my man. Always here joining me. I appreciate it. My man Daffington. Appreciate you. And all those who joining, who will be joining, whether you're watching this live or the recording, subscribe, view, share it with those you know who are needing help. And trust me, I get calls, texts. I got people hitting me up now, friends, colleagues, you name it, new people hitting me up on my Twitter. Follow me there as well. Coach Smith, love the game 27. Follow me on Coach Smith 27 on IG and love the game 24/7 on IG. And definitely be sure to follow me on YouTube or subscribe to me on YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok, love the game 24/7. I'm out here trying to get you guys well informed. I had a great weekend of refereeing once again as I continue my love for sports. So I'm working on getting my certification for basketball as well here in North Carolina in the greater Wilmington area. Loving it. So I had some JV game on Thursday night. Saturday morning had the Pop Warner. I'll share a little bit about that. But man, it's great. Staying connected in all sorts of ways. I follow a lot of people who know just as much, if not more, than me, and I love getting information and sharing information and gleaning from other folks. Um, but I know a lot of people aren't hitting it like I am, talking to you all about how to navigate through the recruiting process. There are a lot of people out there doing some really good stuff, but I'm coming at you from a different angle. I'm getting ready to, have some more interviews coming up as well, working on that. From baseball, I got to I'm a follow up with my buddy who just reached out to me from Iowa, Coach Pro Texter, a real good friend. Played college sports with. He was baseball, I was football and track. But good person. Connected with him and some other great people. My great people out there in Iowa. And so, but man, I appreciate you guys joining me. And and hey, let's get this show kicked off, man. Be sure you can put your questions in there if you got questions or comments. I love for you to drop any comments in there, whether you're on the live show or the recording. I always go back and check it, but I always put some shorts out there um, when I do my podcast to highlight um, certain topics, right, from the discussion. And so, I just wanted to share, being a referee, going from the being a player at the, little league, high school, college, and pro level, and being a coach, with my kids in little league. We didn't have the Pop Warner League when I grew up, but my son, both my sons, when they grew up, we had the Pop Warner and Little League, but we did more the Little League. We didn't do Pop Warner. We would play some teams here and there maybe, but they did more of the Little League that was connected with the high schools, as I've shared before, back home in St. Petersburg, Florida, Tampa Bay area. Um, but yeah, so it's just funny now being, like I said, coming from being a player to a coach at different levels, and now being a referee. Um, I can only imagine how when I was a coach or even a player, but I've always respected referees. No matter if I was a player, playing or as a coach. Um, Always had good relationships with the referees. Um, but man, it's just amazing. But as a parent, of course, we always feel like, oh, that was a bad call. And granted, referees missed it. I realize that. I'm sure we all realize that. You can't catch everything with the natural eye. Thankfully we have technology today that can assist us and help us, clean that stuff up. And you see college and pros transitioning into that and doing, want to be sure um, that they don't miss anything. But we know even when we didn't have those things, it just made something to the game just that much more exciting, right? All the drama, the tension and intensity and all those, whether a call was close, correct, or incorrect. I mean, so it just made that the game just that much more exciting, right? And it still has it. I think. I don't think it can. It depends on how the referees are calling the game. That it doesn't really take away from the game much at all. And referees are learning and transitioning as well with the technology and doing, I think, a pretty darn good job of it. I see you, Bug. Appreciate you, bro. Bud Givens, just yep, yep, yep. Hey, um, let me just make this quick plug. You have to watch Michael Vick's Evolution of the Black Quarterback. If you haven't watched that, you gotta watch it. I mean, it's more than just learning about the evolution of the black quarterback. It's a lot of history. I really appreciate what Michael Vick and Strahan and all those folks who were involved with doing this documentary. That Michael Vick um, is is doing or has done, and so it's great. Just the interviews, the discussions on how the game has evolved. I mean, it's awesome. So get on Amazon Prime Video and check that out, guys. And Bug, I know you gave me a heads up, man. I know you're watching. He did I think it was episode 2, I believe it was episode 2 or 3 of the documentary, and of course, EG is on there because he did an interview with Warren Moon. So there's some highlights with EG on there when Warren Moon did his portion with Michael Vick. So I'm not going to tell you any more about it because I want you guys to go out there and check it out because I think Michael Vick and Michael Strahan, those guys did a great job of putting this together. So be sure, like I said, man, go out there and watch the Amazon Prime Michael Vick documentary of the evolution of the black quarterback. Really good episode. I got to finish watching it. So I just wanted to give that quick plug on that. But getting back to the refereeing and Pop Warner, it's amazing how I had 2 6U games yesterday and then a 10U game. And it's just crazy on how some of the coaches with 6-year olds, mind you, listen to hear what I'm telling you now. It's funny. It's funny. Coaches complain about 6-year olds holding and not always throwing as referees, we're not always throwing flags. Now, mind you, in Pop Warner 6U, the coach is allowed to be on the field. And why do you think the coaches are allowed to be on the field? Because the attention span of some of these 6-year olds, of course, Some of them out there and enjoying the scenery. They're enjoying the view, not paying attention, right? Because they're 6-year-olds and under. So what do you think 6-year-olds are going to do on most plays? Some of them not going to even be playing, standing around. Some of them who do have an idea, because a lot of them do have the idea. They know they're playing tackle football. They're very aware of it, and some are very good at playing it. And that's how you can tell some of these kids who are going to be talented as they get older. Um, that as they are developed correctly, and hopefully as a parent, that's why this podcast, why I do this podcast, is we have to do a better job of developing these young minds, and not just football, but just in general. And parents have to tone it down. Coaches need to tone it down. But let me first say about these coaches, hats off to every coach and every parent that volunteers with these organizations, because it's your kids out there. I know I continue to coach even when my son stopped playing, or moved on from high school and went and moved on to college. I was still coaching high school ball, and even when my kids moved on from my little league team that I coached and they moved up to the next level, I continued to coach that team. And you know why I did that? Because that's what I saw my father and my buddies who, like Bud Givens, who was on here. That's what we saw our fathers do, right? And I'm not going to tell you that they didn't get frustrated or mad with referees here and there sometimes. I'm not. Of course they did. We're human. We did, but it's a little more out of hand today, okay, than it was when I was growing up. Right? I don't remember a whole lot of nonsense. I say a whole lot. There was some stuff. All right. I'm not going to sit here and act like we didn't have our stuff that we dealt with when we were kids growing up playing little league football and Pop Warner football. But to the degree and the level that I see it today, even when my kids were playing, it just, you really have to work hard to, those of us who know better, to help these other people know better. But hats off to the coaches and moms and dads who are involved. It doesn't go unnoticed. Let Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7 be the first ones to commend you and thank you, and let you know how much it's appreciated. And so for those, if nobody ever tells you, from listening to Coach Smith Love the Game 24/7 podcast, you heard it here first. If you haven't heard anybody tell you that, so I appreciate you guys. But we do have to make sure, because of these young and impressionable minds, I don't understand why any coach would think a 6-year-old would not be holding. And if we threw a flag, if we threw flags for holding, right, the game would take forever, right? So as referees, we understand in our training that we went through at that age, we're also trying to help develop and coach, right? So we're not going to throw a flag on a play unless it's absolutely right. Kids are standing there usually tussling with each other, pushing, and nobody's moving, and they're in a stalemate, right? And every now and then you get a kid that's making a good block or whatever, or a kid gets blocked and pushed down, and he goes to grab and tackle the guy who was just. So you have all that kind of stuff, and we help the coaches try to keep that in check. But when you have coaches that are constantly complaining about a 6-year-old kid or under holding on the play, and as I shared with a coach the other day, I said, "Coach, you know what? If I threw a flag on every play for them, or I could throw a flag on every play for your kid for holding, as well as the opposing team for holding. But we can't waste time out here, throwing a flag on every play because the kid may be holding something, and unless it's just absolutely stopping a kid from going to make a play, or if it's not even in the area. These kids are 6 years old and under, a lot of 5-year-olds, right? So they're still trying to understand the game. And so as an adult, we have to understand, right? We should be understanding that the refs can't throw a flag on every play, okay? Whether it results into a touchdown or not. We're out there trying to help you develop those young kids to love the game 24/7, to love football. And trust me, there were kids out there crying because maybe they were up early and didn't want to be out there, or something was going on. Who knows, right? And we're out there as referees trying to help assist as much as we can, but we got to referee the game as much as possible. But as I said, the coaches are on the field. Coaches aren't on the field for 8U, 10U, and up. They're only on the field for 6U. And there's a reason why the coach is on the field for 6U. And that's because you have to help them understand, right? So For those coaches who are coaching 6U, Pop Warner football or Little League football, chill. Okay, take a chill pill. All right, let's help develop and coach the young kids that love the game. And I thank you and I appreciate you for being out there taking your time on your Saturday to do that. But let's be sure, let's understand these are under 6-year-old. That's why it's called 6U. And we know their attention span at that age. Okay, it can be for a long day for those kids, right? For some, not all, because there's some really good kids I saw at that age. But for the majority, we all had to work together to keep their attention. Okay, and so and put them in place and all those different things. So let's just you know realize that 6U is not that serious about wins and losses. It's about developing them, teaching them to understand the game and to love the game. So as they go up to the 8U and 10U, they continue to develop. Now, when as a referee, as we increase the age, like 8U and 10U, oh, we're going to call the game different, right? We're not calling a 8U and 10U game like we did a 6U game. Because why? The kids are attention is a little more focused, right? They understand what's going on. And so let's just make sure we understand from that standpoint how this thing works. Because I know that's how, our fathers were when I grew up playing football. They didn't take it that serious when it was wins and losses when we were that young. It was all about helping us learn the game. Like I was a running back, but I wasn't a running back when I first started playing at 7 years old. I was on the offensive line. I was one of the smallest things out there. I'm on the offensive line. My father used to tell me, hey, learn, because I didn't play running back like I wanted to when I first started playing. He said, yeah, you're on the offensive line. So learn what it means, what the offensive line is going to do. So when you do eventually get to play running back, you'll have an understanding. That's what my father's answer was to me, to help me learn and develop the game. I played guard, I played center sometimes when I was 7 years old, not 6 and under, 7 years old when I first started playing. And so my father's reply to me was, hey, eventually you'll get to play running back, but right now we need you on the offensive line. And it's going to help you when you are older and bigger to understand how to run the football. Because why? You played offensive line when you were real young. Your time will come. That was my father's answer. Plain and simple. Okay. So let's not expect 6 and under kids to be like professionals coaches. Okay. All right. Let's not complain about holding. They all hold. Pretty much every play they're out there, they all hold. Right. So they're not pros. They're not in high school. They're not in college. So let's not take it like that. We're trying to teach them. They're at the early stages of this game, right? Okay. So that's just my little take that I want to share. That was just funny because I haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of 6U games. It's been mainly 8U and up. Um, I think before this weekend, I think I had maybe one 6U game, and I've been doing this for like a month now, every Saturday. So yesterday, Saturday, I had two 6U games back to back, and it takes a lot, even refereeing those games. So I know it takes a lot for those coaches, right, to try to encourage those kids to play and help them remember play and get them, trust me, and get them lined up. So if it's taking that much energy for those coaches to get those kids to line up and snap the football and get a playoff, and they get it off, just imagine, you complain about them holding on a play. And these guys just take it way too serious sometimes, you know. But like I said, a 8U and 10U game and up, hey, it's a whole different. We're calling it like high school, pretty much. Definitely 10U and up, we call it like high school, right? Even some of the 8U games, but definitely 10U and up. The rules are we call it like high school. The rules are the same. So that's my little thing on part one of my weekend, man. It was great doing that. I enjoyed it. Um, had a great JV game this past Thursday. Really enjoyed that. Two local teams here. So man, that was great stuff. But today's topic, man, I just want to hit on, real quick is for you young athletes out there and for you parents to, be, to operate in realism, reality, factual things, truth when it comes to sports and trying to, go to the next level of playing college sports and earning a scholarship, because that's what it is. You are earning that scholarship. Trust me, because you worked hard. And when you get that scholarship, you ought to be proud. You ought to be grateful. You ought to be thankful. You ought to be proud. Um, no doubt, because it takes work. Okay, and it's not easy because I've been there, right? I've been there as a player, been there as a parent. Okay, so I understand from a multitude of perspectives. I understand, and I understand what it means to have that scholarship and not have to pay out that kind of money. But trust me, you've earned that scholarship when you get it, no matter how much it costs for your tuition and all those things, right? Um, it's not an easy task to be able to achieve that goal. Okay, so hats off to you, at young athletes out there in whatever sport you play, and earned yourself a scholarship at whatever level. It doesn't matter what level you're in college playing against the best of the best, right, at your level. And so today's topic is you know that I want you parents and young athletes to really hear this question, really listen. Are you really ready for the next level? Right? Are you really ready for the next level? Are you ready for the next level when you go from little league sports to high school? Are you really ready for the next level when you leave high school and go to college? And for a small amount of you guys, are you really ready when you leave college level sports and you get the opportunity to play pro sports in your sport, whether it be WNBA, NBA, the pro lacrosse league, Olympics, track and field. Um, are you really ready? Right. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Are you really ready, young athlete and parents, right, to play at the next level? Like I said, from little league sports to high school sports, from high school sports to college level sports. And if you're blessed to get an opportunity to go to pro at the next level, from college to pro, are you really ready? And I'm going to discuss three keys or steps to help you determine if you're really ready. Right? I got 3 keys that I'm going to share real quick to help you as a parent to see and recognize in your young athlete. Okay? And for you young athlete, to help you look in yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, self, are you really ready? Because I remember, man, when I got moved up in 10th grade from JV and got the opportunity to go up and play varsity football and get in a game, right? And telling you, it was real. I learned real quick at practice when we would scrimmage against our varsity, how they would just sometimes throw us around like little rag dolls, and sometimes they didn't, because some of us was tough. We want to prove, hey, we can. When it's time for us to go to varsity, we're gonna be ready. And I remember getting in a game when I moved up in 10th grade to play in a couple of games. I had the opportunity to get out there and play, and I was uh, an option quarterback. We ran the wishbone, and I could throw a little bit, right? Um, but we ran the football more back then in those days than we do today. So when I got my opportunity to get in the game and just realize the speed, the change of the game, and I remember the same thing when I got to college and got to play my freshman year, right? I remember the difference in the speed of the game. And you got to make a decision. When you're an athlete, young athlete, you got to make the decision, man. I remember getting knocked on my behind, right? Sliding in the grass, playing against South Dakota State. And diving for a catch. And after diving for the catch and sliding and getting it, the ball came off the tip of my fingers. And then I remember as I was getting off the ground to get up, 2 linebackers came across my head to take me out. I mean, of course, it was kind of late, you know. But all the ref could say to me is, "Hey, welcome to college football, 2-7." And that's when I said, "Okay, bet. That's what's up." All right. That's when my mind like clicked, just like it was in high school when 10th grade when I got to play varsity. I was like, "Boy, look here, this the real deal. I can't come out here messing around. I know I'm fast and I'm quick, right?" I appreciate you guys joining me on IG, but also I'm live on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, Love the Game 24_7. Just want to let you guys know that and appreciate you. Be sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and view a lot of those recruiting videos out there and share them with the people that have a young athlete that's trying to get to the next level. And so, like I said today, I remember in high school, man, taking that hit, going up from 10th grade, playing on varsity, moving from JV to varsity football in 10th grade. And like I said, when I got to college and got the opportunity to play my freshman year as a running back, starting, and like I said, those two linebackers came across my head, and all the ref said to me was welcome to college football. But I made a decision right. I made a decision right then and there, both times in high school when I moved up, and in college when I got to start. And it's a choice. It's a decision. And so the three keys or steps to determine if you're really ready. The first one is preparation. Right? I knew when I got moved up from varsity in 10th to varsity in 10th grade, and when I got to college, got to play my freshman year, I knew that my preparation, that I had prepared myself. So for you young athletes and parents out there, that are involved, now, like I said, mind you, I lost my father in ninth grade. My father wasn't around when I came through high school, right? He was for my two older brothers, right? But I learned from listening to him talking to those guys and watching and different conversations he had with me, before I lost my father. But he was always big on preparation. The coaches that we had growing up, they were always big on telling us about preparation, right? From other little league coaches that coached with my dad and coached me and my brother, and the high school coaches that we had, Coach Ken Drake, Coach Rick Kravitz, Coach John Davis, right? A host of other ones, right? That I could name. But you know, you got to make a decision. I knew my preparation was where it needed to be able to make that adjustment like I needed to. So you got to ask yourself, young athlete, are you preparing like you're ready, right? Or are you just all talk, right? You can't be all talk. There are a lot of people I saw that could talk a good game, but boy, when it was time to take a lick or to give a lick, to give a hit on that field, it was a different ball game. When you get that opportunity, you can't be all talk. You got to be able to cash it, right? You got to be able to cash that check, right? When you going to talk all that talk about how good you are on the field or in whatever sport you're playing, it don't matter what sport you're playing. So your preparation has to be at a level to where when you get that call to go up and get out there on that field or that basketball court, that tennis court, and it's time to step your game up, where has your preparation um, been, right? What positive habits have you started on your own, right? Taking some self initiative, right? That's what you gotta do, young athlete. You gotta start taking some self initiative, especially when I'm talking to you middle school and high school kids who are trying to get yourselves gain exposure to help you earn scholarships, right? We just saw yesterday all the great games that went on yesterday. Okay. Um, and there's some kids out there that I recognize and I'm familiar with. And so, you know, so you got to ask yourself, what positive habits have I started on my own? What self initiatives have I taken? Right? Ask yourself that. Look at yourself in the mirror every day. Right? Am I getting 1% better every day? Right? Am I taking note of the mistakes I made yesterday? What was my attitude like when I started practice? Did I get did I water up the night before like I needed to? Did I eat, some protein, whatnot to be sure that I'm focused, right? That I'm not out there on the practice field hungry. You know, did I take some peanut butter crackers or some turkey wrap or something and extra get up? Did I get up early and not always relying on my mom to make me a little extra little food that I can eat right before practice, a couple hours before practice? Because hey, some of these kids eat lunch at like 11 o'clock, right, real early, and then they got to go to practice at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and be focused. And some coaches, you're wondering why you're yelling at kids because they're not really focused. Because for one, their stomach may be out there growling because they hadn't eaten anything since 11 or 12 o'clock, and now we're at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the hot sun, trying to focus on my plays, right? And sometimes people don't even realize it could be something as simple as that, you know. And then when we get past that, or in addition to that, I should say, do you have the talent, the skill, the work ethic? Do you have that? Do you really have the talent in the sport that you want to play? And I think for the most part, some of you guys who do, you young men and young ladies who do want to go at the next level in college and get a scholarship, you more than likely you do have the talent, but have you honed your skill? Have you honed your craft? Are you doing the things like I said, the preparation to get yourself ready to perform at a high level, right? Do you have the work ethic? Do you have the personal work ethic where nobody has to constantly, tell you what you need to do, right? So that's key number one, preparation. Ask yourself, do I have the proper preparation or have I prepared properly, right? Key number one, preparation. And and if you do have the talent and the skill and the work ethic, if you do have that, um, that's what's going to help you get through um, key number two or step number two. That I'm that's the next step, which is determination. Right. So key number two is determination. Are you willing to do whatever is necessary, no matter what? Right. That's what you got to ask yourself. Am I willing to do whatever is necessary, no matter what? Right. You got to be able to um, compartmentalize some things and not get stuck. Um, and you got to, be willing to ask yourself the hard questions. You know, um, like, do I have the proper, you know, determination to want to achieve this dream of earning a scholarship to pay for my education, so my mom and dad doesn't have to be concerned about it or thinking about it, right? Because I know they've spent a lot of money for getting me some personalized coaching, uh, stuff that I need to eat, uh, stuff I need to use to help me work out, gear, all those things, right? Um, and so you can have all that stuff, and you can look like you know like you about it, and you don't, and you're not. You just like you know the look or the some of the attention that it may bring you, and you may be pretty good, but you don't have the preparation in place like you should. um, your determination might be off because you're allowing other distractions to get in the way, right? Because I'm telling you, there are politics that you may have to deal with at every level, right? In any career field of interest, right? In sports is no different, right? We all deal with, you can talk to your parents, you can talk to friends, whoever. Their politics, man. There were politics in little league sports, right? That's why I tell some parents, you need to be involved. Some dads, if you got a son or daughter, you better be coaching, right? Because there's always coaches who are going to show favoritism with their kid or with their friends' kids, no matter how good they are or not, because it's not fair for them to always give their kids opportunity to get developed, but your kid is not being developed, and and I've run into that. I had to deal with that, um, but I had the blessing of, because I realized I wasn't sitting here living a pipe dream, and you do have to protect your kids in some ways. I mean, don't sit up here. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you like that's not a concern because it is. You're going to have to, but there's a way you need to go about doing it when you take care of business, right? People need to know you mean business, right? But there's a way you go about it, doing it respectfully, um, and with wisdom, and but you do have to protect your kids because there will be favoritism. There's politics in little league sports. It's ridiculous, right? Because we got some parents out there who are trying to make it happen for their kids as opposed to just guiding them and leading them, but stop trying to make it happen for them. They got to make it happen for themselves, right? I wouldn't have made it um, and accomplished what I did without um, understanding that from my parents. Both my mom, even though my mom didn't coach or anything like that, she would share some things sometimes, and definitely my father, who was involved with it. It was always, man, you got to go earn your keep. You got to go earn your opportunity, right? But one thing I realized too, like he said, he coached because he don't don't want to deal with all the political stuff. But there's politics, man, at every level, and it's sad that we have it in little league sports because it could potentially take a fun away from the game, right? The love of the game, 24/7 that I always talk about. So, but like there's politics in any career field, of interest that you may have, in sports is no different. And you got to learn how to deal with that kind of stuff and still be determined, right? You know, you still got to have. that determination and not in that fire in your gut, in your belly, right? And that comes from the mindset first, right? Are you able to tell your friends no when necessary? Or are you willing to miss hanging out at times with friends because you know, hey, this thing, this opportunity where I'm getting real good at this sport. I'm getting some attention, and I can possibly, you know, take this thing somewhere, you know. So it's times where you got to ask yourself, am I willing to tell my friends no sometimes about certain things, right? And hanging out, right? Do I have the mental capacity to do so? Okay. And that's where you parents got to be paying attention as well. Sit down and have those conversations with your young person, your young athlete, your young uh, baller, your young lady baller, right? Or your young lady lacrosse player, your young boy lacrosse player or baseball player, right? Or volleyball, right? Parents, you got to pay attention and help them, learn to have the mental capacity to do so. Yes, it's going to frustrate you sometimes, but there's some things or techniques for, you know, just be honest with yourself. Just like I tell some young kids, go have a conversation, take a teammate, or have assistant coach that you have a good relationship with, and if the head coach or whatever the case, before you get the parent involved, especially when you're in high school and definitely when you're in college, you got to go have tough conversations yourself, young lady, young man. And then if it goes sideways, then you respectfully, hey, I like for my, you share it with your mom and dad, you try to do the best you can to keep calm, or whoever the parent is that can keep, you know, the most calmness, um, the one that, go deal with it. And hopefully you don't have to, but hopefully you teach your young lady, you teach your young man athlete, boy athlete, a young girl, or a young lady, or young man athlete, to learn how to go have tough conversation. Because I'm determined that I'm going to make my dream happen because my preparation is where it needs to be. And see, whenever you have your preparation where it needs to be, and you're doing what you need to do, when it's time to go talk to a coach about something, it shouldn't even be a difficult conversation because he or she already know what time it is because they already know that you're a person who prepares well, right? And key number one, right? And then key number two, they see your determination. Every day you come out there on the practice field, on the tennis court, on the softball field, your leadership by example. See, if you're doing those things, if it's when it's time to have a conversation with the coach about maybe some playing time or whatever, or the parent to go ask a coach, and coaches shouldn't be difficult to come talk to any coach at any time. I don't care if a parent is coming at you wrong or sideways. It's part of the job, right? And if you're determined as a coach to build young ladies and young men athletes and prepare them for whatever level they're going to go play and perform at, even if they do or not, they when they leave your um, uh, under your responsibility when you have them in your sport, you're preparing them. But I'm telling you right now, if you had key number one preparation in place, not that you're perfect, you're gonna make mistakes, but for the most part, you have your preparation in place, and the coach knows that because it's evident, and your determination. The coach, I'm sure the coach knows that because it's evident from your preparation. And when it comes to maybe doing like watching video and learning different things and understanding the scheme or whatever it is that you're doing or the play call, right? Whether you're an offensive player or a defensive player, right? Okay, you have that determination, and that coach knows that, and it's up to the parents to help you have the mental capacity to do so. And if you do have the mental capacity, then this will help you get through step number three, or key number three. Take action, real action. Don't take or accept no for an answer. Mm-mm. I remember Mark Dominic. For those of you guys who know NFL football, Mark Dominic was the GM for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And before he was the GM for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was a scout for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I had already had gone through being in training camp with the Houston Oilers in the early '90s, and Spent, some time there going through training camp and preseason games and whatnot. Then I hurt my knee and had to get rehabilitate and try to, as I was trying to get back into the NFL, doing some arena football. Mark Dominic was a scout with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Tony Dungy was the head coach, and Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator. Don Shula, the longtime coach for Miami Dolphins, his son, Mike Shula, was the offensive coordinator for Dungy in those early years. And as I said, take action, real action, because if you have key number one, preparation in place, and key number two, determination in place, um, when it's time to take some action, it'll be real easy to take real action with key number three. And we don't take no for an answer. And I never took no for an answer when Mark Dominic would tell me, Jeff, man, um, I don't know if we'll be able to work you out. But because I had uh, uh, around my belt of being in the league at one time in training camp with the Houston Oilers, right? See, I was already a part of the NFL family briefly in training camp with the Houston Oilers as an undrafted free agent, right? Um, and a lot of that had to do with guys like Ernest Gibbons and Pat Terrell, who was already in the league, right, during my time, to be able to get that opportunity to get that workout. Um, and Ernest Gibbons had really made a name for our area, as well as many other guys. Keith Stevens, Butler, from P Park area. We had guys, from Lakewood, um, you know, um, Demetrius Davis, Rodney Dillard, my brother, um, man, Gator, Dennis Savage, Gator. We call Gator was quarterback for the Wood. Uh, George McGarrah, his brother Juan McGarrah. We had a host of guys, man, from my high school, Lakewood High School, still putting them out. The Wood, still putting out great athletes, because that area we grew up in, still putting out some of the best athletes in college and pro ball, right? And so Mark Dominic was the scout for the Bucks. And as I was trying to get myself an opportunity to get back in the league, while I was working full time, I was still having my preparation in place. I would still go get up early in the morning at like 4 or 5 o'clock to get to get the workout in. Whether I hit the gym or I would go out to Lakewood High School before the lights would come on, and the janitor out there knew who I was, and sometimes he wouldn't have an issue with me out there training on the track or on the football field before the kids would come on campus, and then I'll get back home, but seriously, I'll be up at 4 or 5 o'clock. Sometimes I would run sprints in my street, in my cobblestone street. I was getting myself prepared, before and after work. I would get workouts in, just trying to get back, and wanted that dream of playing in the league, getting the opportunity of playing in the league again. And so I wouldn't take no for an answer from Mark Dominic when he was a scout for the Bucks. I literally at times would, get off work early or take a day off to do some training, and then I would go over to One Buccaneer Place. I would literally go over to One Buccaneer Place, which is right next to Tampa Airport, the old One Buccaneer training facility before they moved it to that mall they tore down, where the Bucks bought that old mall. I forget the name of that mall, but prior to them moving where they are now, they were by the Tampa Airport, International Airport. And so I would walk up in there, man, and ask for Mark Dominic to scout me and to give me a workout. And boy, I would not take no for an answer. And be rest assured, because I didn't take no for an answer, 2 years in a row, I got to work out for Coach Dungy at One Buccaneer Place. And so you got to understand, when scouts at the college level and at the pro level, their job is to bring in great talent in front of their coaches, right? That's what the scouts' job is at the college level, to keep their to get themselves a better opportunity at coaching. Or like Mark Dominic, he went from being a scout, I think, to assistant GM to GM for the Buccaneers, right? And so because of key number three, take action, right? But prior to me taking action, my preparation was in place, how I knew how I was training to get right. So when I got in front of these scouts and got in front of Mark Dominic, I was prepared, right? I had put on weight. I had gone from 180 pounds to 195 pounds between those 2 years that I worked out for Mark Dominic, because I was going as a all-purpose running back, right? And at the time, I think Mike Allstott was still there and Warwick Dunn was still there, and I was going to try to be a punt returner, kick returner, and backup running back, right? Um, and so I went over there and I ran 4.4, 5'9.5", 195 pounds, muscle, right? Ran 4.4. Caught some balls from Mike Shula out of the backfield at the wide receiver spot. I did they did a whole bunch of different things. And I remember the first year that I worked out, it didn't really go as well. It didn't go terrible, but it didn't go as well as I wanted to. And I know Mark was kind of leery about doing it that next year, working me out. Um, and because of, like I said, because of my preparation, key number one, and my determination, key number two, I was able to take action, key number three, right? Taking action, key number three. You got to be able to show up. These people are responsible for bringing legitimate talent in front of the head scout, the GM, assistant GMs, head coaches. And so I got to work out for Coach Dungy both those years. And I remember that second year was like night and day, man. I really killed it that second year. And really thought I was going to be, get signed. I even talked to Dungy a couple of times after that workout that they were real serious about, bringing me, signing me to the team. I wish they had the practice squad as deep as they have it now, because I probably would have gotten signed. I don't doubt it. That practice squad was about half the size as it is today. So, but man, I tell you, you got to have those keys, man. You got to have that preparation in place. You got to have the determination when people are telling you no, right? In the politics, right? Because they're I remember when I was at the Houston Oilers, Coach Kevin Gilbright was the OC, and he used to coach at East Carolina. You know how many guys from East Carolina got an opportunity to try out for the Houston Oilers? It was quite a few of them. That's the politics that you run into, is what I'm trying to give you an example of, that you got to be able to overcome. You can't let it frustrate you. You got to be able to, you have your preparation, key number one, and your determination, key number two, and then you got to be able to take action, and you got to be able to deal with the politics of it and keep that love for the game 24/7 at the forefront of why you really love this game. You know, Warren Moon kind of spoke on that on the Michael Vick evolution of the black quarterback, because of the politics he had to deal with and going over to Canada for 5 years before he got his breakthrough in the NFL. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So if you really think you have what it takes, the talent, the skill level, and the work ethic to go to the next level from little league football to high school, from high school to college, and get you a scholarship. And as I said, for those of you who are blessed enough to go to pro in your sport at the next level, whether it's the top level in track and field for the Olympics, right? Whether you're like Madison Keys or Sloane Stevens, I think I said that right. In tennis, um, or some of these brothers that are racing cars that look like me, because I don't remember seeing a lot of race car drivers that look like me like we have today, which is awesome, right? Um, so you got to have these keys, right? You would have to train your mental and physical body to take effective action to hopefully get the attention of recruiters or scouts in your sport, right? And as I was sharing this example about Mark Dominic with who became the GM eventually, um, as you know, I went on and at that time had passed, and I hung up the cleats and started coaching my boys in little league and high school and all that stuff. And I can remember my brother and I were out to dinner, and because of that relationship I built with Mark Dominic when I was trying to play pro football, I remember when the Bucks had drafted Cadillac Williams from Auburn University, and my brother and I just happened to be over at the Cheesecake Factory having lunch because we were out in our area, doing business in the same area, um, in student lending, visiting colleges and universities in the area, and we just connected and had lunch at the Cheesecake Factory over there at the um, Millennium Mall in Tampa there. And Mark Dominic just happened to be there with Cadillac Williams when he got drafted. The next day, taking him to lunch, and he saw me. I saw him when he came in, but he didn't see me. And as I was leaving, my brother and I were leaving the Cheesecake Factory, heading out after lunch. Mark Dominic saw me, and he yelled and called my name, and he made a point to introduce me to Cadillac Williams, right? And during that time, my son's agent, uh, who's a good friend of mine, um, was representing a young man from our area who was in the NFL, and Mark Dominic just asked me what am I up to, and I said, hey, I'm working with a buddy of mine, kind of doing some consulting for GMB Sports Management Group, giving my homeboy Garrett a plug. He's an NFL sports agent, and I told him who he was representing, and he was like, "Oh man, we really like that young man." He's like, "Man, if something doesn't work out for whatever team he's with, be sure he follows up with me." And I could probably call Mark Dominic today, and he would answer the phone because of the relationship he and I built when I was pursuing and not taking no for an answer because of the determination that I had to want to get back into playing pro ball. So whether it happened or not, it still was a blessing and taught me something, because that encounter that I had with Mark extended to when he became GM, and he's out there with Cadillac Williams, whining and dining Cadillac Williams, their first round draft pick, and happened to see me and made a point to want to introduce Cadillac Williams and telling Cadillac Williams the story that I just told you. He shared that whole story with Cadillac Williams, how this telling me, hey man, this young man is determined. And so that one, I say that to go forward to tell you that, um, as I share with Mark Dominic, who was current GM at that time, that what I was doing as we were talking, and he said, "Man, I know you probably have an eye for some talent, and so hey, if you see some talent out there that you think I need to be aware of," he was like, "Man, be sure you call me, right, and help me to see it, especially some from kids from our area, right." That's the kind of relationship I had built with him when he was a scout, right? So it helped me be able to put some other young person, on, right, when Mark Dominant was a scout, because of my determination of trying to make my dream come true. Even though it didn't, I was able to be put in a position and having a relationship with him to be able to help put some other young person on later on in life, right? And so that's why I'm saying you never know where some of these, because of your determination, right, and because of your preparation, and because you take action, right? And you got to train, like I said, your mental and physical body to take effective action to hopefully get the attention of recruiters or scouts in your sport, right? Because they have a job. They got to bring in some of the best talent, right? To bring success, right? So is it evident that you have put in the work when coaches view your video, right? See you at camps and watch your play in real time against equally top talent, right? Is it evident that your preparation and your determination, right? Key number one and key number two are in place. Is it evident that you have put in the work when coaches view your video, see you at camps, and watch you play in real time against equally top talent, to help them realize or recognize that you have what it takes for the ability to play college football at whatever level you play college, or you're being recruited at, right? So these are the top three keys to help you know or determine, are you ready for the next level, for any level in college sports, to earn yourself an athletic scholarship? That's what you need to be asking yourself, young athletes, right? That's what you need to be asking yourself. And these are the keys, right, that you need to have. And if you feel that you're this type of young athlete, then you need to subscribe and view my videos on my YouTube channel at Love the Game 24_7, and sign up with Coach Smith to help you get on track and stay on track, right? So that's all that I had today, is to give you those three keys. Do you have key number one? Do you have the preparation? Key number two, do you have your determination in place? And key number three, are you ready to take action, real action, right? To help you determine if you're ready to play at the next level in college and earn yourself a scholarship. And if that is the case, then you need to make sure you email me at love the247game@gmail.com. That's love the247game@gmail.com. So you can sign up under Coach Smith tutelage and mentorship, right? I told you that I'm involved with offense, defense, um, right now. And we have all-star games coming up for pretty much every level. And you need to get with that and sign up for the All-Star games coming up in December, right? Day after Christmas, out there in Dallas, Texas. And so you have the opportunity, hey, you can get in contact with me and let's get you going. Let's get you the focus and help that you need. I don't care what sport it is. I've told you guys, recruiting is recruiting. I don't care what sport you have. We have the new tools now. We have name, image, and likeness going for us, right? We have transfer portal, all these different types of things. We have Division 2 that's becoming the new Division 1. Okay. So there's no excuse. Um, some of you all don't realize, don't know what you don't know, to try to help gain exposure, right? And using social media. I've told you that every coach for every sport, college sport, is on Twitter. That's what they use. That's the major portal or social media tool that is being used to recruit young athletes, right? There are camps like offense, defense that's out there. That's going to be happening as we come into the new year to help train you guys for football specific. Some of you guys need to get some training, specific training for your sport, for your position. And there are people out there that can help you, as well as myself. I do football and track and field, but I can help give you anybody a workout regimen that they need to use to help get them, stronger and faster, or bigger, stronger and faster. Either way, there are things that you need to understand about how to do that, right? Because it is an art, it is a science to doing that because of how the body responds and reacts to certain things, right? I'm not going to reveal all that. You can sign up with Coach Smith, and I'll be glad to help you. Um, to get yourself in order so that you can perform at the top level or the highest level that you need to perform at to help you achieve or earn yourself an athletic scholarship. So mom and dad don't have to worry about investing additional money, a lot more additional money. Because I've told you, I'm an college administrator in financial aid, and I know how much it costs, and I know what people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for their kids' education. And there's some people that have it, and there's a lot of us that don't have it. Thank God I had a gift and a talent and parents who were able to invest. Same thing for my kids. I invested in their gifts and talents, not just in sports, in a lot of things. It helped them be well rounded. So when they took the opportunity to go off to college, they're well rounded young men, right? And getting ready to do that with my grandkids, right? Um, I know I'm still young, still ready, and I'm getting myself in shape to get ready for my grandkids to do the same thing with my help my son and my daughter in love to um to do that for my grandbabies, right? And so I'm excited. Some of you guys know my daughter in love, the real Kim, KYM, and you know my son Jay Smith Jr. And also my son Zach, who's good in photography and different things. Uh, Zach Smith. So you can follow them on IG or TikTok. Um, my daughter in love, she's very well known in the content creation atmosphere. So I'm learning from them, right? So get with Coach Smith. Let's get this thing going with your recruiting. If you feel that you really have what it takes to play at the next level. And as I said, whether you're listening to this live or the recording, you need to view the videos and things that I have out there. So I look forward to hearing from you and helping you fulfill your dream of getting ready for the next level. And so, guys, once again, I hope you guys had a great weekend, enjoying some weekend football. It's time for some NFL. As I told you, I had my JV on Thursday, high school ball. I had my Pop Warner on Saturday. Um, had my college on Saturday, and I had my pro football today. I shared some things. I always share some things on TikTok and IG and YouTube in my referee uniform, letting you know what's up with Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7. And so some exciting things going on as I continue to build this content creation and build this platform, man, to help you parents and young athletes out there to navigate through this uh, very exciting but also overwhelming time of being recruited in your sport. But really want you to enjoy the experience because it's something you'll never have again unless you have more kids or grandkids, right? There's nothing like it. So want you to enjoy it to the fullest, and as you continue to invest in your young person, your young lady athlete, your young male athlete, because it starts in middle school. I'm telling you. And so I hope today's show podcast was helpful. I hope it um, was insightful. I hope that you learned something from it today. And like I said, you can get in contact with me. You can follow up with Coach Smith at love the 24/7 game at gmail.com. And we can talk and get connected and get a game plan going for you and your young athlete. And for you football players, you can go, Google offense, defense, and, parents, you can nominate your child for the all-star game, right? We have them for the different levels. So let's get it, let's get it going, right? Let's get it started. And, we want to do it, right? As I said earlier and started the show, uh, we want to do it, right? We want to get it done. And so you got to be ready. You got to be ready every day to do what's necessary. Hey, that's today's show, y'all. That's today's show. Whatever it is, whatever sport, Coach Smith and love the game. 24/7 is here to help you do it. All right, y'all. All right. Take care.